What's up, guys? It's Jim from Wrestle Wellbeing here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of The Unseen Battles, where we dive into our guests' wrestling history, journey into wrestling, and also their struggles, battles, and eventual triumphs with mental health. As you can see, I've got two very special guests today. It's the first time I've done this, so hopefully it goes all right because I might cock this up. But before we get into my guest today, I want to talk about the Hot Tag Foundation, which my lovely guests are actually involved in. So the Hot Tag Foundation is a non-profit organisation based here in the UK that aims to share wrestling with children across Britain, particularly those in need. The way that the Hot Tag Foundation does this is by collecting donations of wrestling items such as toys, merchandise, and other wrestling-related goods, personalising and packaging these donations, distributing the items to children and young people, mostly around the holidays such as Christmas, and they also host events as well, sometimes in partnership with hospitals or with other charities to reach children undergoing treatment. So in essence, the Hot Tag Foundation leverages the appeal of professional wrestling, bring joy and a sense of real-life superheroes to children, especially those facing challenging circumstances. I've got a quick video, guys, to show you. On this video is also a list of, well, the logos of the several independent wrestling companies up and down the UK with a little QR code in the corner. Make sure you watch this episode before you get to that. But yeah, here is the video, guys.
Ready for turning red, steel claws of vengeance awaken the dead. The silence is shattered, the battle drums roar. We march through the ashes, we're ready for war. No mercy, no chains, no fear in our veins. The fire ignites, we'll never be tamed. Ready for war, the thunder will break, fury unleashed, the earth's gonna shake. Raise the black flag, let the demons soar. We're forged in the chaos, ready for war. The wolves are howling, the night's closing in. A blade in the darkness where shadows begin. The weak will crumble, their cries fade away. We stand in the inferno, we'll never obey. No mercy, no chains, no fear in our veins. The fire ignites, we'll never be tamed. Ready for war, the thunder will break, fury unleashed, the earth's gonna shake. Raise the black flag, let the demons soar. We're forged in the chaos, ready for war.
So there you are, guys. That is the video from Hot Tag Foundation, along with all the fantastic wrestling companies up and down the UK. So now, on to today's episode of The Unseen Battles. I'm joined by fellow podcasters. I'm joined by two ladies who are instrumental in their field of merch selling and also first aid. We've also got a ring announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the hosts of Talk the Line podcast, Lauren and Jamie, and Jamie's little boy. How did they, ladies?
I'm good.
I'm okay.
How are you, Lauren? Fantastic. So, guys, if you don't know who Talk the Line is, it is a fantastic, fantastic podcast. If you look just at the side of my face, there's a QR code. Make sure you scan that QR code. It will lead you directly to Talk the Line podcast's Instagram page. So, first of all, Lauren, talk to us about the Talk the Line podcast. Obviously, for people that don't know what Talk the Line podcast is, just give us sort of like a brief introduction into Talk the Line podcast.
Well, obviously, Talk the Line while currently me and Jamie are really the only faces of it, it is the start of a much bigger project that we've sort of got lined up. We have multiple different podcast formats that are in the process. We have a much wider team. Obviously, both mine and Jamie's partners are involved. We've got Steve Grimshaw, who I know most of the fans of this show will be familiar with. We also have Wrestling Jeebus on the team. And we have one of our friends in America who does a lot of our editing and sort of keeps us in touch with that kind of side of things. And it was born out of me and Jamie had been involved with other things, and when they fell through, we had people that were missing the products that we were making, the conversations that we were having. So we sort of started looking at what we could do. We know we work well together as a team, so we just thought, let's carry on what we had been doing with the talent podcasts. We tried the preview shows. I don't think they've landed as well as we hoped, so we may not be continuing them. But yeah, talent podcasts have just relaunched. We've got another one coming out in the next couple of days, and yeah, it's just me and Jamie currently doing our thing with the backing of obviously a really, really good team, and hopefully we can expand it and continue to help all the talent in the wrestling thing. I feel like I'm waffling already now, but me and Jamie do what we do with merch and things like that because we're very passionate about the talent that put their bodies on the line in the ring should get everything they can out of it, and just having someone there to helps massively. Being able to come on a podcast and sort of get themselves out there, get themselves known, again, helps massively. So anything we can do to sort of help support and grow from the bottom upwards, like we'll do it.
Fantastic. Jamie, do you have anything to add at all?
No, Lauren kind of, covered everything there. This usually happens. Like, people who watch our podcast will know we are the professional, unprofessional podcast for a reason. That was fun. Sorry, they're doing building work next door to my house, and it is that bad. A spoon's just fell off my countertop. So, yeah, you'll hear noises like that, unfortunately. I didn't realise they were doing it today, so yay. But, yeah, we do what we do because, obviously, we love it. And, yeah, like Lauren said, we want the talent to get what they can out of this because, if it wasn't for the talent, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we want them to make sure they, get the names out there, they get the money for the merch, stuff like that. So we try our best, don't we, Lauren?
We try. Use people's patience, but we try.
Absolutely. So, Jamie, can you tell us what initially drew you to professional wrestling? Is it something that you've loved since you were a kid? Is it something that you came on later on in life? What first got you on that path to wanting to love professional wrestling?
I have been watching wrestling since 1996, so I'm showing my age now. Basically, my grandparents used to watch me and my brother quite a lot because, like, my mum and dad were working. So there was one day we were at their house, and apparently I was being an annoying little 6-year-old. So my granddad put the telly on, and there was wrestling, and he went, "Right, sit there, watch this, shut up." So I sat there, I watched it, I shut up, and I fell in love with this weird and wonderful sport called professional wrestling. And it was something that me and my granddad shared, and we absolutely loved. And yeah, everyone said, it's something you're going to grow out of. You'll stop liking it eventually. It's been nearly 30 years and I still haven't grown out of it yet. So yeah.
Absolutely. Lauren, same question.
So mine and Jamie's path into professional wrestling are very different. Jamie, there's not a lot. can ask Jamie about the history of wrestling that she doesn't know. Whereas I'm very much on the opposite spectrum. I got into wrestling, gosh, probably 10 years ago now, which still feels like quite a long time. But obviously I was early 20s. I was 21. Let's not make myself sound even older than I am. And I got into it by my ex-husband was watching Monday Night Wars on the network, and then started watching NXT. And I sort of, Monday Night Wars, I was a bit, there were bits that gripped me, but I was like, you could tell it was sort of dated. As coming from fresh eyes, it was a bit on the nose, some of it. But when it came to NXT, I absolutely fell in love with them. And when NXT came over, I was at when NXT came over and did their first live shows, I was front row. As soon as I was in a live crowd, that was it. I was completely hooked. Before that, I could take it or leave it. Put me in a live crowd and I was there. And then very shortly after, I ended up at a Progress show, and that was my entrance into Brit Rest, and I've just gone further and further down the spiral.
Absolutely. So, Lauren, can you tell us sort of like the first wrestlers that sort of like pulled you in? So, was there anyone that stood out for you?
Drew Parker. I always go back to Drew. Drew is someone that I still use as an inspiration now, if I'm honest. He first saw him and he's this skinny little kid with a goofy mask, coming out with like scissors and stuff. But he was putting his body on the line and he was doing incredible stuff. And I saw him in a death match and was like, wow. Then I saw him wrestle the Invisible Man, like genuinely just in the ring for 10 minutes on his own, and had the whole crowd captivated. So there was him, and then, gosh, put me on the spot now, Damien Corvin, who, funnily enough, was one of the first wrestlers that my other half ever saw in Brit Rest. Just absolutely looks your typical wrestler. He's got that cheeky bad boy sort of smile and that little smirk going on, and he's a very, very captivating person. And yeah, women wise, it was Alexis Falcon and Lizzie Evo. Like, I dived into one of like the biggest feud that I've ever seen, really, was them two. We had Falls Count Anywhere matches. We had 2 out of 3 falls, and I've watched those women go at it time and time again, and still to this day, the pair of them have my eyes glued to a ring.
Absolutely. So before I pass it over to Jamie, we've got a message from our very good friend Steve Grimshaw, who says, pretend that that noise is the start of Diesel's entrance music. Brackets, Lauren won't know who that is.
I do know who Diesel is. Go away.
So yeah, Jamie, same question to you, love. Who were the first wrestlers that sort of like pulled you in and got you into wrestling?
I'll do better than tell you. I will show you. Hang fire. I am going to have to move. There we go. Obviously, The Undertaker was probably my first love of wrestling, because it was one of those things. He was a character that he just had this aura about him that you was like captivated by. Then obviously as time went on, it was people like Owen Hart, it was the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, Eddie Guerrero, like all these amazing men. And then obviously you started seeing the women get involved and doing it, and then it was Lita and Chyna, you know, the big personalities that, you know, Lita portrayed, and then obviously Chyna with her, you know, I am big enough to kick the living hell out of these men. I was going to swear them, but I've remembered what time it is and that my children are in the house. And then obviously, like, Lauren's obviously named Brit Rest people. Mine's obviously more WWE centered because that was me for quite some time. I've only been involved in Brit Rest, I think, for like 2 years now, just over. Lauren, you'll have to fact check me on that one because my brain doesn't work anymore. So like for Brit Rest, it's been a big eye opener of wow, you know, and some of the people that I love watching the matches. You've got guys like Isaac North, Rob Drake, Lana Austin, you know, just the whole Temple of Malum, really, let's be honest. Lucy Sky, Alexis Falcon, you know, just Holly Barlett, just the women especially now are doing some amazing things. Like I would probably be here naming them all, and the guys as well are doing absolute great things. I even watch more Brit Rest now than like WWE or AEW or anything like that. Like I can't remember the last time I watched American wrestling programming, but yeah, I will be at a Brit Rest show whenever there is one because 9 times out of 10 we're working them, but still I actually pay attention and I want to know what's going on rather than what's happening overseas. So it says a lot, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So we've got a question in the comments, and I'm also going to read the Instagram questions that I got. So, question from Janine De Silva, who says, if you were both wrestlers, what would your wrestler's name be, and what would your entrance music be? I'm going to send it over to Jamie first.
Right, Janine, you know my body is broken, so there's never a chance of this happening. Obviously, I did train to try and become a wrestler years and years and years ago when I was 13, so, you know, a while ago now. I didn't have a special name. I was literally just Jamie because I'm not creative in the slightest. Didn't have any entrance music because I didn't really have matches as such. It was literally just constantly training. So I don't really know what music. Actually, no, my music would probably be, it'd either be something by like Blackstone Cherry or, oh, yeah, I'm going to go with something by Blackstone Cherry because I don't think there's many tunes out there that have been used by them for wrestling entrances. But yeah, that's going to have me thinking now. Janine, I don't like you anymore. You're making me think of things.
What would your finishing move be, though, Jamie?
I used to have a power bomb. Like I tried different variations of it, like I tried pop-up power bombs, things like that, but never really worked well. So it'd either be a power bomb or now I can't really do the high flying stuff, so that's out of the question. I'd probably say like a chokeslam or something.
Fair enough. Lauren, same question.
Names wise, I honestly don't know because obviously when I became a ring announcer, I wanted some sort of differentiation between sort of personal and private. But because I'd been around Brit Rest for so long, I felt changing from Lauren was a bit pretentious because everyone knows me. So I just changed my surname. So I would probably stick with Lauren Summers if I was going to be a wrestler. Entrance music wise, there's so many that I've listened to that I absolutely love. Like Fort Minor, Remember the Name, as always being one of mine that I'd love. Dave Birch has actually stolen one of the ones that I would have used, I Prevail. Although they do have a couple that would be very, very good heel music. So, and I can't see myself being a bad guy, being a good guy, sorry. Like, even when I'm announcing, I try and be impartial and stuff, but I'm just a dick. Like, sorry, pardon my French. I just love winding everybody up. Like, yeah.
Yeah, love it. So what would your finishing move be then, Lauren, if you were a wrestler?
Oh, I don't know moves. Oh gosh.
I can so see you were doing a Phoenix
450 splash, Lauren. Why not?
Me and Jamie had the same idea.
I'll do Leon Slater's weird new flipping. What was it he did the other week? He was a swanton bomb into a 450, and I was just like, mind was completely blown.
If you can do that, I'll give you 50 quid.
50 quid, mate. That only does me one Big John session. I'd need about 12 to recover from that. But yeah, mine would probably be something more like, I don't know, one of my favourite finishers that I actually think I would possibly be capable of doing is Casey Payne's body art.
Fantastic.
I could actually see you doing that, to be fair.
Basically just a big, innit?
Yeah.
Definitely. So, a couple of Instagram questions from our good friend C, who's still in the chat, says, I've seen you both at shows being the loudest voices in the room and trying to encourage other fans and build the vibe. How does that impact your own enjoyment of the show, and do you feel any pressure to keep up appearances? Lauren, I'll send that to you first.
I wouldn't necessarily say I feel pressure to. I do find myself sometimes sort of dissociating from the enjoyment of it, because obviously with being around the talent so much and having trained as a ref and all that, sort of being so sort of behind the scenes aware, I tend to read the matches a little bit more, and if I can tell that there's something that someone's trying to get over that the crowd aren't really landing with, or I find myself analysing the match as it's happening and trying to help sort of sell whatever they're trying to do. So whether you've got a bad guy who's trying to be a bad guy, I'll boo them way more than the crowd potentially want to. But yeah, I don't tend to feel much pressure about it. I know it's appreciated by some people, but at the same time, I also do sometimes feel a bit self-conscious and feel like some people are a bit like, what's she doing? Why is she being like that?
Completely understand what you mean. Janine has parked up saying that she's never heard them. She's never heard you shouting. she's also
deaf from her son, who we've trained well.
She then has put a comment saying, Louise said it just comes out from for Lauren, mainly in Rob and Lana's matches. So, Jamie, yeah, same question to you, love.
I mean, same as Lauren, I don't feel the pressure in doing it. Like, it's one of those things, if we didn't make the noise, I think it'd feel a bit weird. Like when Lauren did her sponsored silence, I know that felt weird for the show because, you know, she couldn't say nothing. But yeah, like I like to be loud. I am one of those people who are in the mindset of, if a wrestler is doing something that you have a reaction to, you need to voice it, because how the hell are they going to know if what they've done is good or not if you don't make a noise? Like, I understand the whole Japanese psychology of, you know, they're very appreciative, they sit quietly, they clap, you know, things like that. I know it's becoming different now, but over here especially, like, we've got such a diverse wrestling pool. Why not, you know, show them that appreciation for what they're doing? Why not, you know, if they hit a high flying move, you know, applaud it, scream for it, do whatever you got to do. If it's a bad guy, boo at him, shout at them, do what you need to do. Like, the amount of talent for me and Lauren, especially, that, you know, they do appreciate when they hear our gobs, because they're like, you know, at least somebody was watching what we were doing. And it's one of the, I think even my husband now, he's like one of the quietest people in the world until you get a couple of beers in him, put him at a deathmatch show, and then he's the loudest, most obnoxious fan in the world, which is amazing, because it's like, right, well, he's showing that appreciation to those people who are doing the most ridiculous things. Why can't everybody else do it? It does irritate me when the fans are really silent at a show, and I'm just like, just make some noise, do something.
I mean, to be fair, it's usually just Antonio Gonzalez and Emerson Jane I shout at.
That happens occasionally on our podcast too. He just pipes up out of nowhere.
Absolutely. No worries.
What Jamie's just said, sorry, Jim. That is like that. I wholeheartedly agree with Jamie. The guys and girls that put their body on the line in the ring, they're giving so much match, and it's not just what they're doing in the ring. A lot of people don't see the hours and the money spent training, the hours and the money on the road, like the constant sort of battle, the constant maintenance of their body, of their health, of like their physique, all the gear that they have to buy, all the social media promos. There is so much that goes into that like 8-minute match in the ring. And if they're giving that much, then surely it's our responsibility as fans to give them something back. If they're making you feel something, make that be known, whether that's booing them, whether it's cheering them. You'll get a lot of the bad guys will come off the ring, and if someone's been like hurling abuse at them, they come out of the ring absolutely buzzing because they're like, yes, he hates me. Like, they've done their job. We were filming with August Artois a couple of weeks ago, and at Kumite he got the opposite of a please come back chant. And he was like, that's brilliant. They care enough about what I've done to be making that much noise about me. It's irrelevant what they're saying because I've done my job and I've got a reaction out of them. So yeah, no pressure, just a responsibility, but I enjoy the responsibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Steve's put another comment in for you, Jamie, saying your kid's got a deep voice.
Yeah, that's my third child. That's the one I married. Yeah.
I've got to say, ladies, I'd love for you guys to be in the same room as jobbing with Nikki because she's the same at UKW. She's just every 2 minutes screaming and cheering and everything. And for me, it's the best thing about going to wrestling shows. Myself and Liam from Magical Wrestling, we went to the last 2 events for UKW, which was Showcase of Champions and Aftermath. And Aftermath was was the absolute first event that my wife went to. She didn't know what to do, and then we went to Showcase of Champions, and just out of nowhere, she just shouted, "Go on, Yorkshireman!" Me and Liam just looked like, "What the hell? What the hell?" She's like the quietest person ever, and she just blurted it out of nowhere. But yeah, I can't agree with you ladies any more than what you've just said. Are you guys going to the Hot Dog Foundation event alongside Kingdom Wrestling at all?
I don't think we are this year, unfortunately, because we're booked elsewhere for merch. I was at Toil Rumble last year, and it was a fantastic night. But yeah, we're at another show, unfortunately, because Kingdom seems to clash with a lot of our shows, which is a shame. I absolutely love going up to Kingdom.
Fair. I'm just asking because myself and Liam are going to be there, and it would have been awesome to see Steve piping in yet again, saying he's reffing at that. Are you on about reffing at the Toil Rumble, Steve? Because if you are, then we're definitely going to get you to do some quick fire questions. Anyway, it's not about Steve this episode. You've had your episode, mate. So go on to Steve's next question, though. You both do a lot of extra work at shows, and those kind of sport roles can be thankless tasks at times. How do you motivate yourselves to keep going when it becomes more of a job than an interest? Jamie, you first.
I don't really have to motivate myself to do it because, again, it's one of those things, the little things that I can do that make either the talent's life easier, the promoter's life easier, you know, the camera crew, anything, like anybody involved in a wrestling show, if I can make their life easier, I will do my damnedest to try, you know, and do that. Like, there's times when I've been ring crewing, there's times when obviously I'll do merch, there's times when I do first aid. There's times when I just do stupid little things like running and grabbing, you know, if I need water or, you know, if somebody needs something from the bar, or I even send my husband out on Tesco runs when we're at TNT because I'm like, right, you've got long legs. It'll take you 2 seconds to walk there. You go, you get what's needed kind of thing. So some people might say, you know, we're too nice and we should, you know, charge for what we do half the time. Because half the time we never do. We just do it for the love of wrestling, and we do get into shows for free, but you know, it's one of those. I do charge obviously for some things like Lauren does, and you know, other things it's just like, nah, it's just part and parcel of us being here. We'll do what we do, and we always do it. Like, I think it's even metamorphosized now into taking talent like to places as well. It's like, oh, are you going to be at this show? Can I catch a lift? Yeah, it's fine. Like, so yeah, it's not a chore. It's just I enjoy doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. If it becomes a point where I don't like doing it anymore, then who knows? But for now, I'm enjoying it. It is what it is.
Definitely. Lauren, same question.
I think personally, I feel quite lucky in the fact that most of the things that I've done haven't been thankless. Obviously, occasionally being behind the merch table can be sometimes because obviously the talent are rushed off their feet. We've created a culture now where the talent have kind of learned they can literally just come down, throw a bag at us, and as long as it's got prices in, it'll go out on the merch table. But obviously, if they're then dashing off to another show or whatever, and we don't get to speak to them afterwards, there's not that chance for a thank you interaction or anything like that. But most of the time, especially the promoters, are very, very grateful for everything that we do. And to be perfectly honest, I'm at a point now where I'm sort of like, if I'm not appreciated, this is going to sound a bit like cocky or something possibly, but if I'm not appreciated, I won't do it. If I know someone's taking the piss out of me, I will let it happen once and then it won't happen again. So it doesn't become a chore because I just go, I'm not bothered. I do this because I love it. And if you're taking away that enjoyment by the way you're treating me while I'm doing it, then I'm just not going to do it. So, but luckily, touch wood, I've not really been in that situation.
Absolutely. Jamie, same question, love.
She already answered it.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Sorry,
I'm just...
You didn't tell him that. Just
my mind's just not here today. So, next question from Steve is: how do you decide which guests to have in your podcast, and how much planning goes into it? Lauren, ask
Planning.
You'd think Steve never met us. I get told who we're having on the podcast. Because Jamie tends to just, whoever's at shows and is around and nattering, Jamie just kind of grabs them and is like, do you want to do the podcast? And then I get told to get the calendar out because I'm the only one with any form of organisation, and to book it in. And as for planning,
you do more planning than I do.
Yeah, if it's somebody I don't particularly know, I do like to have a quick scan through Cage Match. I'll have a quick look through their socials, see if there's any big names that jump out that they've wrestled, anyone that I know particularly well that they've wrestled, that sort of I know we might get a good story out of them for something. But really, our podcasts are that sort of random. It just kind of evolves. Like, Jamie tries not to talk about wrestling, but we always end up on wrestling, and it's not always my fault. Quite often we'll be talking about movies or collectibles or anything like that. But when you're in this weird and wonderful world of wrestling, it all becomes one. The movies that you watch will influence a character that you portray, or the music that you hear will make you think of, oh, that's a good entrance theme. So there's so many crossovers, you end up back on wrestling. But yeah, planning next to nothing, and yeah, choosing who we have on is literally just who we like talking to, who actually we have, anyone that we have any sort of banter with at a show tends to end up getting an invite. There's no rhyme or reason to we want XYZ on. It's just whoever we can grab at the time that we think would be interesting. And currently I'm trying to put some sort of rhyme or reason to the order that they're being released. But yeah, it's not really happening. So I haven't even decided whose podcast's going out this weekend yet. So
Fair enough. Jamie, anything to add?
Yeah, no, as Lauren says, it is basically I just go, oh, you're here. Right, while you're here, can you do this day? And we'll get you on the podcast. And like we were supposed to record one yesterday. Didn't end up recording it yesterday, even though I'd been like basically bullying the talent, saying you need to, like, you've not replied, you need to get on, you know, we're doing this. But obviously, like, we're rearranging it, so it's fine. And, you know, it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, I haven't asked you yet. You're coming on the podcast. That is basically how we work it. And then, yeah, Lauren, I'm like, Lauren, calendar, please, because, you know, it links to my phone now.
at the minute, I have 2.5 weeks till my wedding. So currently, every time Jamie goes, do you want to come on the podcast? I'm like, no, let's not do any more podcasts. I'm busy. Yeah, here we are, because we booked this weeks ago.
I really do appreciate you both making the time, obviously, with you being so busy.
Yeah,
with
because
your,
I'm great at, you know, running your life.
So, final question from Steve. Finally,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, we're still going. What plans do you have to make Talk the Line podcast a key part of the podcast landscape in 2026? Jamie, you first.
Does Steve know us? Like, I'm sure he knows us. He thinks we have planning, and
I'm pretty sure he's part of the podcast. Therefore, the question should be going back on him. What is he going to do to develop the
Steve,
podcast?
what ideas have you got that's going to make the podcast big in 2026? I've got apparently a Buzz Lightyear. You know,
But yeah, I mean,
lovely, my child burps.
I feel like Steve's probably just trying to set us up for a promo. So really, obviously we have mine and Jamie's professional and professionals currently launched. We will very, very soon have H will be back with his deathmatch podcast, Blood, Sweat and Beers. We have Gav and Steve will be starting their what's he called it? Pastimes. What's he called it?
We should know these things, shouldn't we?
What's he called the podcast? Pastime.
I don't even know where my phone is to check.
No. I'm on my
Right,
phone.
see you there. You're watching. Tell us what it is.
Hey, what's your podcast called, dude?
Steve has commented saying, "I'm giving you stuff to talk about, darn it."
Yeah.
Prime
Time pastimes. That's the
That's
one. I
it.
knew it was pastimes. I should have remembered the prime time because all I keep thinking is making moves, making $1 million. All that comes to my head.
Millions of dollars.
But yeah, that will be coming soon, which will be basically the word wrestling will be banned, and it is different talent talking about their different hobbies outside of wrestling. And we also have for 2026 a top secret new podcast that is being talked about at the minute. We have graphics being created, which will have 3 completely new members to the team, which are very well-known faces throughout BritRest, and they will be talking about something outside of BritRest too. So that will be, you'll have to keep your eyes peeled for that because that one is top secret at the minute.
See, anybody think we didn't like wrestling with the amount of times we're trying not to talk about wrestling on the podcasts?
Fantastic. So that's all from Steve. Thank God for that. So got 2 questions from the Hot Tag Foundation themselves. I'm all kidding, Steve. We love you, really. Hot Tag Foundation asks, what do you hope to achieve with the Talk the Line podcast?
For me, I mean, I personally, the end goal, I think, eventually way down the line would hopefully be some sort of promotion. But I mean, in the meantime, it's being that support role for all talent. Between us, there's not a right lot we can't do. We've got a ring announcer, we've got a medic, we've got a referee, we've got a cameraman. Like, we've even got people who are basically trained to wrestle. So, did I mention that we make merch too, or did I forget my job?
You forgot your job.
Okay, make merch as well as sell it. So yeah, there's not a right lot we can't do for the surrounding bit of the wrestling. And I think that's what we want to build, is being able to be there and be a reliable platform for the talent and for the promotions. I know people have tried to do it before and it's not been handled particularly well, and things have slipped through the net. And I think that is my main goal, is to just have that consistency and the reliability, so that if something needs doing or a talent need merch making or whatever, they have a direct goal, a direct person they can go to, that they know they're not going to get ripped off. They know they're not going to have to wait 6 months to get a t-shirt. They know they're not going to have to like run around and ask 6 different people to do a couple of jobs. It's just being that consistency and being known as reliable is the biggest thing for me, I think.
Jamie, anything to add?
Pretty much exactly the same. Like, me and Lauren between us are that one-stop shop of, we need something, right, go to Jamie and Lauren, because it'll get sorted. Like, Lauren's probably the same. We get messages even when we're not at shows off talent, basically like, is this something you're able to do? Or like Lauren or whatever, like between us, one of us can do it, and the talent now know that. So, that, not a focal point, but like a centerpiece of, we can do this for you and we will help you where we can. So like, I want us to be able to take it to that next level. Like Lauren says, we want to eventually down the line have a promotion, and have it run where the talent trust us, know us, they know that things are going to get handled correctly. They're going to have a good time. They're going to, not get screwed over, basically. I'm not saying all promotions do that, because they don't, but there has been some that have. But yes, as long as me and Lauren keep doing what we're doing, I'm happy, because we work well together, and yeah, we seem to be making an effort and a good, reliable name for ourselves.
Absolutely. Got a message from Janine, who says, you've got yourself a raffle king in Louise.
Louis.
So
Louis is our little raffle king.
I think you're pretty much sorted for your event, for your show. Last one before we get into the proper questions. So we've been talking for nearly 50 minutes already, and we've not even got into the proper questions yet.
The problem with having 2 guests, you've got double the answers.
Well, hopefully you'll actually take over Damien Black, the amount that he talked for, which was 2 hours and 2 hours, 1 minute and 34 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. Damien can talk, but he's such a lovely guy. It was brilliant. So, final question for the Hot Dog Foundation, who asks, what do you think is the best way to support Brit Wrestle community and the talent?
Go to shows, buy the merch, be vocal when they're in the ring, share stuff on social media. Like, that's the main one. Share things on social media. It doesn't cost you anything. Like, share the promos, share the poster, share the event, do whatever, like, comment on the stuff. That's the one thing that you can do that is free. Everything else, if you want to attend shows, brilliant. If you want to catch up on shows if they're on a network, amazing. If you're going to be at a show, make your voice heard, be that fan that will always cheer them on or boo them or whatever they want you to do. That's how you support them, and buy the merch, obviously, because that puts extra pennies in their pocket.
Lauren, anything to add?
From a fan perspective, I think Jamie's covered it all. It is, like say, feeding back into whatever they're trying to give you. But from anyone trying to sort of be a bit more involved and sort of getting themselves into Brit Rest, it's, for me, it's, like I said, reliability is a big one. Honesty, and just be genuine, and allow people to sort of get to know you and have open conversations. Of if someone asks you for like a comment on their match, don't just sit there and be like, yeah, it was great. If you know that something didn't quite land well or whatever, or the crowd weren't reacting to something, tell them why you think that. Because as a non-wrestler, you've got a very different perspective to the wrestlers. The wrestlers have their own idea of how their match is done. They've planned their match in a certain way for a certain storyline and blah, blah, blah. If that's not coming across, then they need to understand that. And obviously, they themselves need to work at being open at receiving that. But yeah, it's just, like I say, being reliable is my biggest thing. It's one of my biggest bugbears, and it's probably the biggest letdown that a lot of Brit Rest has is last minute pullouts, cancelling a booking because something better came up, or like there's so many different things. Whereas if you're just honest about it, I've had conversations with promoters and stuff where they've had a member of talent come to them and say, look, I've had this opportunity. This is huge for me, but I'm booked with you and I feel torn. And that promoter's just gone, go, leave, go and take that opportunity. Because obviously it's amazing for you, but also when you come back to me, you're a bigger product. So that's great for everybody. But too many talent are scared to have that conversation because they don't want to upset someone or blah, blah, blah. And then they end up being caught out in a lie, and it's everything starts to fracture. Whereas if you're just honest and reliable, I think everything would work a lot smoother.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into the normal questions part of the talk now. So usually what I do with this is that I just go through all the questions first, and then we get onto the mental health side of things. But because there's two of you, and because you both have your hands in so many different roles, I'm going to do each role individually. So I'll do your podcasting first, and we'll talk about the mental health side of that as well. Then we'll go into the first aider side, and then finally we'll finish off with merch seller, and obviously Lauren will talk about your ring announcing after. So what was the driving force behind starting your podcast that taught the line? Did you feel as though there was a conversation missing at all? Jamie, do you want to answer that first?
I don't think it was that there was a conversation missing as such. It was more of a... Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate now because I'm going to be brutally honest. I hate the podcasts with wrestlers where it's the same cookie cutter questions that you can hear 10 times over. Like, they're not individually written. You know, it's just they're asked to the same people all the time, and it really winds me up. It's like you've got individual people, talk to them like individual people. I think there was only ever one question that we asked on our podcast to every guest that I've stopped asking. I need to start asking it again. And the only question that we had that we asked everybody was, do you like chicken nuggets? Because I thought it was just stupid and funny. And yeah.
And she asked two vegans and was feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, it was such a big thing that my husband even bought me and Lauren chicken nugget keychains. So I do think I'm going to have to start doing that again. But I did ask two vegans, and yeah, like that kind of went a bit tits up. But yeah, so it wasn't something that was missing. It's just I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be that standard cookie cutter. How did you get into wrestling? who's your favourite wrestler? That all wrestlers get asked at least 50 times, so they don't want to come on podcasts anymore. Now, luckily, when there's here that, do you want to come on our podcast? They're like, yes, because I know all you do is talk absolute crap. I will happily come on that, which to me, biggest compliment I could get. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Lauren, anything to add?
I don't think there was a conversation missing, but I think potentially a perspective missing. I think that's the one thing that I'm very proud of with our podcast is with the professional side of it, it's 100% female. We're both very, very proud of the roles that we play within tiny roles that we play within so many promotions, but huge advocates for women in wrestling, whether it's the social media managers, whether it's the backstage interviewers, whether it's the wrestlers, whether it's the wives and the girlfriends that have to go and pick glass out of their boyfriends on the way home. Like, it's a different perspective to your traditional sort of male wrestling thing, and I think there's a lot of interest in, especially from women, in hearing me and Jamie talk to these people and talk about our experiences, because I've known people not feel comfortable going to a show and message me before a show being like, oh, are you going? Because if I'm going, they would go. They wouldn't speak to me at the show, but I was almost a safety blanket. I was a female who felt confident enough in that venue that if they had a problem, I could help solve it, or they felt like I could help solve it. So yeah, I think it was probably the perspective and that was missing rather than the conversation. And like Jamie said, I think our way of handling things, of just being unapologetically us and talking bullshit. Sorry, again, I've sworn. I'm so bad at this. You can tell Jamie works in a school. He's got a much better filter than me. I worked in a warehouse for a long time in a factory, so I'm atrocious. I apologise. But yeah, that is it. Just being us and having that random sort of approach, but also that female side and that female opinion.
Absolutely. You don't need to apologise, Lauren. You can swear as much as you like. Obviously, we just need to be careful with Jamie with the little ones. But
oh no, they've heard worse from me.
So, as the hosts of your podcasts, if someone starts talking particularly about something that might be sensitive or controversial, how do you prepare yourselves mentally for those discussions? Especially if someone's talking about something such as big as like mental health, for instance. Lauren?
I don't think we've hugely come across anything like that. But again, me and Jamie have both been through our own mental health battles, and we're both very open about it. If anyone is struggling, they can happily come and talk to us. And I think, although we've both been there, I think both of us can quite confidently say we've sort of dealt with the majority of it, and there's not a lot of conversational triggers anymore, and so therefore we're quite open. If people want to talk about it, we will just talk about it. There shouldn't be this stigma and anything like that, like with mental health or anything like that. So yeah, it's not, for me, I know it's not really I need to prepare myself for that conversation, because I've sort of dealt with a lot of my little triggers, and I would rather the conversation be had. And when it comes to things that are controversial, it depends. If someone's willing to have an open and honest conversation and listen to both sides of an argument and things like that, I'm more than happy to have controversial conversations. But if someone is very much, I'm right, you're wrong, and won't sort of open the discourse at all, then for me it's a case of, well, we can sit and we can have the conversation. We have the benefit that our podcasts aren't live. So if anything is said that we completely disagree with, it can either be edited out or we can put disclaimers on. So it's, yeah, I don't think it's something that I feel you have to prepare for. It's just a conversation.
Absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that can like shock me anymore. So the preparation side of it for, you know, big conversations just doesn't even come into it anymore. Like, you know, I'm 35. I've dealt with enough shit in my own life that anything that anybody else says, I've probably been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and, you know, I'm happy to help somebody else get through that. So yeah, like if anybody wants to talk to me about something big and heavy, go for it. I'll stick kettle on, you know, we'll crack through it kind of thing. It's fine. So yeah, we don't actively go out to try and get like big things on the podcast. We try and keep it as lighthearted as we can because obviously everybody has shit times. So we'd rather keep it fun and enjoyable, but obviously we know sometimes things get brought back to that side of it and we're happy to talk about it.
Mommy.
And yeah, this happens too. Like, go and drink it.
Absolutely. So another quick comment from Steve, who praises you there, Lauren, saying Lauren has helped me through some stuff mentally. So it's always nice to hear something like that from someone like Steve.
Right.
Exactly. So what do you believe is the biggest misconception people have about the job of wrestling podcast host? Jamie?
First one, that we get paid for it. We don't get paid for this. Like, we do this in our spare time, and I mean, at the minute we don't have much between us. Like, Lauren's obviously planning her wedding, I'm dealing with this, and the other one that's upstairs. Luckily, right, you go over there, mate. I can't see. So yeah, that's probably the biggest misconception, that we get paid for what we do. We don't. Like, some of the things we do at shows, yes, we get paid for, but majority of stuff we do, we don't. Another one as well, I think a big misconception is that that we just want to hear like all the juicy gossip and, you know, we're going to then go out and broadcast it everywhere. We don't. Like, I could not care less what's going on in somebody's life. If they want to tell me because we're friends and, you know, they want help with that, fine. If they're telling me something because they think I'm going to then go and spread that news around, I'm really not, because in one ear, out the other 9 times out of 10. It's the same with my husband. If somebody's telling him something, he'll look at me and go, was I meant to be listening? Because it's done. So yeah, we don't just want to hear the gossip of who's doing what or whatever. We want to have a nice chat with people, have some laughs, and be unprofessionally professional, or whichever way around our podcast is, because I can't remember.
Absolutely. Lauren, anything to add?
Very similar sort of thing of people expect. I think people expect a certain thing. We get a lot of misconceptions from talent that, like Jamie touched on earlier, there's a lot of the same sort of cookie cutter questions. And for us, we get people being like, well, what's the podcast like? Because they really don't want to do another, like, oh, so WrestleMania 6 was my first WrestleMania and this match was my favorite ever. Like, they're bored of doing that. I don't know, really. I've not tended to find many misconceptions, just stuff like that, of people thinking that, again, like Jamie said, people thinking we want gossip, when actually I spend most of the time with podcasts with the people that I know, trying to get their gimmick over. Like, I don't care who you're in a relationship with or anything like that, or who you're beefing with. Just let's come on and have a chat and let people get to know you, like, of what inspires you, what you enjoy, stuff like that. And if we can help further your career in that, then that's what we'll do. Yeah.
Absolutely, couldn't put it better myself. So, gonna do a couple of mental health questions, and then we'll move on to obviously the first aider part of it. So, as you're both the hosts of the podcast, and obviously having a public platform per se, has that made you feel more or less comfortable talking about your own mental health journey at all, Lauren?
Neither really. I think I'm a very open book, with sort of my history of depression and things like that and anxieties. I have a really bad dark sense of humour and will say really inappropriate things about my trauma and things like that, which people are quite often taken aback with. But I've always done that, and I do try and censor it a little bit when I'm in a public environment. So if I'm either on the podcast or if I'm behind merch, I do try and sort of tend to check myself and be like, not everybody's been through the crap that you've been through. Like, not everybody's going to understand that that's what it is. But if anybody brings anything up to me, I am an open book. I'm just like, you can ask me. If you tell me you're feeling a certain way, chances are I've felt there, I've been there, or I know someone who has. I have a lot of friends who have obviously struggled with mental health as well, and I'll do anything I can to help anyone.
Fantastic. Jamie, anything to add, love?
Yeah, I don't think that being on like a public platform means I have to feel a certain way about opening up with my mental health. I've just finished having therapy again. I've been to some dark places in my life. I don't feel like I need to like not censor myself about it on the podcast or anything like that. If it comes up, I'll talk about it. Same as in real life. If it comes up, I'll talk about it. If I've had talent message me, because they've been to the dark places I've been, and I've said to them, I'm here still. I'm here if you need to talk, message, phone call, whatever, FaceTime, fine. If you need me to drive to your house at 3 a.m, fine, I'll do it. I don't want anybody to ever think that they can't open up to somebody just because they're scared that it's going to cause a trigger, because everyone's dealing with something, and the more people that are there to help you, the better. So if I can use this platform to talk openly about stuff like that, I will. But yeah, I don't feel like it's one of those things where I can't open up because I'm seen as a public figure kind of thing, even though we're really not. We're very little following. But those people that follow us, if they think, I'm feeling down, I need somebody to talk to, hit us up. We'll talk to you. You'll get bored of us, but we'll talk to you.
Absolutely. So, do you ever feel a pressure at all to perform or maintain sort of like a certain energy level when you are doing your podcast, even on days when you are struggling personally? And how do you cope with that sort of thing? So, Jamie.
Oh God, no! I do not feel pressure at all. At the amount of podcasts that we've done where I've gone, I feel like utter shit, or I'm tired. I think there's even been times on the podcast where I've said, I don't really want to do this today, but I'm here now, so let's crack on and do it. And I am me. Like, I'm not going to say the word I normally use for myself. I am the C word, but I'm a nice C word. So it's one of those, you get what you get with me. I'm not going to censor myself for anybody. Like, if I'm telling you that I'm struggling, but I am still doing it, it means I give a damn about you. So I'm not going to say, I'm not going to be here just because I'm feeling bad. Like, I'm still going to do it. Like, if it's my kids, that's different. If I'm cancelling because of my kids, that's a different story altogether. But if it's me, even if I am like in the worst pain possible, if I'm having a down day, sometimes talking on the podcast will help that, because I get to be out of my own head for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. I think the longest one I did was with Shay Burnley, which was 3.5 hours. Luckily, all of it did not make it to edit because that would have been a long one to watch. But yeah, it's one of those. If I can put my happy face on and talk crap to somebody for a bit, I will, because it'll make me happy at the same time. So I'll always do that.
Absolutely. Lauren, anything to add?
I honestly can't remember the question. What was it?
It's getting more and more like our podcast.
Do you ever feel a pressure to perform or maintain a certain energy level for the mic, even on days when you're struggling personally? And how do you cope?
Not on the podcast, no. Maybe ring announcing, I do feel a little bit more pressure to sort of turn it up. But obviously, it's a very different kettle of fish. For the podcast, we are unapologetically us. You get what you get. There's no filter. There's no like airs and graces. You get what you're given, basically. And we're both very much, if you don't like us, that's absolutely fine. But no, I think it's, as Jamie said, even on a down day, coming on the podcast and chatting to someone for an hour can bring you up. Like, we have such laughs. I mean, we had JC from True Grit on the other week, and the pair of us were in tears laughing because of JC's former wrestling gimmick, Boris. And it's like Jamie said, it takes you out your head for a little bit, and quite often it gives you a laugh and a giggle. And the podcast can sometimes turn a day round. So yeah, no, it almost helps.
I'll do it for you.
Fantastic. So, have you ever had a guest share something about their mental health that deeply resonates with you at all?
It's not sharing. It's not sharing.
Can't say I have, no.
Mummy, Daddy, it works now.
That stands out. I've had multiple conversations with people that have been sort of a bit deeper, and you sort of realise something about people, but I don't think it's ever happened on the podcast where I've sort of been caught off guard and sort of felt
Yeah, man.
a close connect, like a close resonance.
Do you want to give up?
Okay. Jamie, anything to add?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think now, because obviously with this podcast, I don't think we've had, I mean, like Lauren said, we've had the conversations like off the podcast that have got a bit deep, but I don't think on this podcast we have really. But I know previously, when we've done previous ones, we've had a couple of conversations that have got to that side of it, but it's not really been an in-depth dive. It's literally been like an offhand comment of, you know,
Oh my God.
oh yeah, I've had like a bit of a bad few weeks, or, you know, things like that. So we've not really dove into it, kind of thing. It's more of, we will talk to people either before or after recording about stuff like that, or, you know, in person. Like, we prefer talking to people in person about it, because we know we can at least be there for them properly. Like, if they need anything, we're
Gonna
there.
die after you, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I'd like to move on to obviously the first aid side of your guys' journey. What inspired you to bring your medical skills specifically into such a high risk environment of professional wrestling, Jamie?
I'm gonna hold you.
It was purely accidental.
Mommy, turn the game.
I've been first aid trained for quite a while. Obviously, I used to do care work. I
Mommy, look at
do
me.
girl guiding, so I need to be first aid trained for that. So I think I've done at least first aid training every year for the past like maybe 13, 14 years. And it just so happened with Salford City Wrestling one day that they sent me, because obviously I do their merch there, they sent me a message and they're like, do you know any first aiders? It's like, well, yeah, I'm one. And they're like, do you mind doing our first aid? Because our first aid has pulled out. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Not a problem. I'm going to be there anyway. So yeah, it's fine. And that's just kind of now stuck. I am their first aider / merch seller. And then at True Grit, it was they put a post out that their first aider had dropped out. So I shot them a message. I was like, I'm first aid trained. If you need me, I don't mind coming. And then that's now just turned into a permanent gig, which I'm really happy about. And then like Infamous, I'm always there. I'm on the hand. They know I've got my first aid kit on me at all times. I'm not technically their first aider, but they know I'm there. Same as probably most promotions we're at now. They know I always carry my first aid kit, so they're just like, they know I'm going to keep an eye on things and I'm there if they need me to be. So it's not really I wanted to bring that in kind of thing, but when the opportunity was there because it was needed, I'm one of those people, if there is something I can do, I will happily do it. So the first aid thing just kind of fell into place really there.
Absolutely. Lauren, anything to add?
No, so I'm not first aid trained. I'm just the person that's always there with emergency supplies, whether it's alcohol, gel for cleaning stuff, or plasters, or that's very much Jamie's thing. But obviously, with having multiple sort of health issues myself, when it comes to medication and stuff like that, I do tend to chirp up a little bit more to help people understand. We had a situation on Saturday where obviously one of the wrestlers is very, very conscious of what they put in their body, as a lot of them are, but he was very dubious about taking any tablets or anything. So trying to help him understand what the tablets would do for him and why they would help the injury that he'd been suggested he might have. I will sort of chirp up then because I have a better understanding of that after my own health issues and care for family members previously. But when it comes to actual first aid, Jamie's first aid trained, my other half's first aid trained, so that's very much a them job.
Absolutely. So obviously with doing first aid in professional wrestling can be quite daunting, especially if someone has suffered maybe a serious injury or they're having a reaction to something. Like, what process for assessing a wrestler do you go through, or just someone in general if it's a member of the crowd? What sort of process do you go through to keep yourself from obviously losing control of your emotions, sort of thing? Lauren or Jamie? Sorry, sir.
I mean, yes, there is the possibility that something could go really wrong and somebody could get seriously hurt. But I'm lucky that if in a scenario I'm needed to administer first aid for whatever reason, my head just goes into mode of I am needed for that. I don't have time to flap. I don't have time to panic or worry or anything like that. It is strictly, right, this is what's happened. This is what I need to check. You know, this is what I need to do. And I just get on with it. I mean, afterwards, I might be like, oh, that were a bit, but at the time, it's kind of poker face, get on with what I need to do and make sure that that person's okay. So my emotions really don't come into play at all. I kind of like have a on and off switch somehow that just makes it of, right, no, this person needs medical assistance, get it done. If they need to go to hospital or whatever, yes, I would happily take them, or, you know, phone an ambulance, whatever was needed. But yeah, my brain just automatically goes onto action stations mode kind of thing.
So would you say that you're basically going to mum mode for that particular
Yeah, a little bit. I am basically known as the wrestling mum of our little thing, because I'm always like with snacks or my first aid kit or everything else. So everyone's like, yeah, you can tell she's a mum.
Exactly. Lauren, have you had to deal with anything like that at all in your experience?
No, it's honestly one of the things that petrified me when I was training to be a ref. It was one of my biggest fears of sort of that put me off being a referee. I mean, there was loads of other things, like I'm not not skilled enough to be a referee. I don't understand wrestling enough to be a referee. I will always give the biggest props to my zebra friends, but the thought of being in the ring with someone getting hurt and me being the like not responsible for it, but obviously as the referee you do kind of feel responsible, but being that first point of contact and stuff absolutely petrified the life out of me. So it honestly was a factor of me pulling out of being a ref. So the fact that Jamie and these guys like can just jump in at it fascinates me because I'm just like, no, I can't do it.
Absolutely. So, Jamie, to finish off this side of the talk, with it being about first aid, what key differences have you noticed between responding to a wrestler's physical emergency, contrasting to a mental health crisis backstage? If you've experienced that at all.
Obviously the injury side of it, like Lauren said, we had one on Saturday. It was kind of a little bit of both though, because obviously something had happened. This wrestler hadn't actually dealt with an injury before, so he was obviously a bit flapping. I mean, bless him, he kept apologizing. He was like, I'm so sorry if I've shouted, I'm so sorry if I got angry with you. And I was like, you don't have to apologize. I've heard far worse from far worse people. Like, say what you want. It's just all going over my head. I know, it's not a great place to be in. So, it's one of those with the physical side of it, you can deal with it. You can get it sorted. On the other side of it, if it's a kind of like a mental health crisis side of things, I've had it where I've had talent who have not fully broke down talking to me, but there have been things where they've needed to get things off the chest. They've done that. They've had that bit of a moment of utter crushing, like, and then they've spoke about it and they've come around a bit and they've been like, right, okay, I feel better now because I've got that out in the open. I've got it off my chest. I'm okay now. I can kind of go on with what I need to do. So yeah, it's one of those, they're very, very different things, but I'm happy that I'm able to deal with both of those sides of things. So yeah, I'm just glad that I can be there for people who need me to be there. So yeah.
Absolutely. And Lauren, when you've been at a show, if someone, whether it be a wrestler or a fan or whoever, has come up to you and just brought down in front of you, or they might have said, Lauren, I need to speak to you, I'm struggling. What sort of response do you think is best to take, obviously, when you have that sort of situation?
I think there's only really been sort of one person who I've ever sort of fully dealt with in like full on anxiety attack meltdown mode. And thankfully I knew them quite well. So it was not easy, but it was easier to sort of talk them round and get some logic back into their brain rather than being overwhelmed with the anxiety and whatever. Most of the time at shows, you tend to find a lot of the time it's talent just overthinking. Most of the people who get in that ring are such perfectionists with what they want to put on. They'll come out the ring and something minor will have gone not to plan, which none of the crowd will have noticed, but to them it's something that's gone wrong. And I find quite often, especially being at the merch table, we tend to be the first people that anyone talks to outside of the locker room. So it's being that first intervention of when someone's started, it's noticing that spiral of overthinking and overanalyzing something and interrupting it and kind of bringing that logic back, and making them realize that what has actually happened in the ring is huge to them, but to 99% of the rest of the room, it was completely invisible. And I feel like that's what I feel like I tend to do most at shows, is just try and interrupt that cycle of spiraling overthinking. because so many of them are so, like I say, such perfectionists about what they do in the ring. It's a big thing for a lot of them.
Absolutely. So, obviously, when there's been quite a particularly demanding show, or you've had an evening where you feel quite overwhelming, what practices do you use for your own self-care to sort of like switch off or get yourself, if you are felt particularly overwhelming, how do you sort of like center yourself and calm yourself down? What practices would you use, Lauren?
For me, it's very much, I like peace and quiet. I will come out of a show, and the drive home, I will probably not have any music on. If it's been one of the shows where I'm like going, most of the time we come home, there's music blaring, we'll have a sing along on the way home, blah blah blah. But if it's been one of those shows and I'm just done, it is a case of quiet, drive home. Usually me and my other half will sit on the sofa, have something to eat, get a drink, and just relax. There isn't anything particularly that I do. It is just that sort of void of any input when wrestling can be so overwhelming visually, like audibly. There's so many people bustling around you at the merch table. You're constantly being touched and bumped, and I literally, most of the time, I'll socks off for one. And yeah, just plonk on the sofa, get myself a Pepsi Max, and just breathe.
Absolutely. Jamie, same question, love?
See, mine depends. Like, if it's been like an emotionally draining show, double headers over the weekends, like they are emotionally draining because it is literally 4 shows in 2 days. We are out of the house. Like, obviously I'm away from the kids, and so if it's one of those days, especially like on the Sunday, I'll drive home, sometimes stop off for a coffee because I'm a weird person who still needs coffee at like midnight. I'll drive home. As soon as I'm home, I might have something to eat. I sneak into my kids' bedrooms, give them a kiss on the cheek, try and give them a little hug while they're asleep. I'll then get into bed, and even though I've had like a full weekend of wrestling, I will put wrestling things on YouTube. I have a playlist that I listen to while I'm in bed of weird and wonderful wrestling things. And yeah, that's if it's been like a really an emotionally draining one. If it's been just one of those where I'm just knackered, again, I'll still do the coffee, and then it'll just be, I'll get home and just pass out on the couch probably, and trying to remember to take my painkillers and doing what I can to just get a bit of sleep.
Absolutely. So I'm going to move on to the next part of the interview, which is about ring announcing. So obviously this is going to be about you, Lauren. Jamie, if you want to mute yourself, you can do it. If you want to put you backstage, can do that. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, just leave it there.
I'll just mute for a minute. You're good.
No worries, love. So, Lauren, obviously, what inspired you to become a ring announcer? What was the thing that made you think, I really fancy being a ring announcer?
So I've wanted to be a ring announcer for years. Like, I always thought it was just my kind of thing. Obviously I have a reputation of being the loudmouth and whatever, so why not make use of it? Sorry. But then I tried years ago and was knocked back by a wrestling school because they only wanted wrestlers. And I kind of gave up on it. And then when James Greenwood started his referee classes, I thought, we'll try it. James had I'd mentioned it to James, and James was very excited that I was sort of, he was trying to convince me to join. So I was like, go on then, we'll give it a go. I was very dubious. I'm not the fittest of people. I have problems with my knees. Obviously, my health's declined quite badly since then, but at the time I wasn't too bad. And I absolutely loved learning about the backstage and how things work and how everything goes together and stuff like that. But something wasn't quite clicking, and I was always getting in the wrong position. And James was like, you've watched enough wrestling, you should know what's coming next. And I'm like, but I don't understand the moves. Like, I'm one of these people who I'm invested in the storyline. I'm not watching what moves you're doing. If you're going to do a Leon Slater Swanton 450 off the top turnbuckle, I'm going to be amazed. But I only know it's called a Swanton 450 because I was listening to the commentary. I would have had no idea. So I was struggling with things like that. And then it came to the point where Steve and Reese and Stu and everybody was debuting at Future Shock, and I sat there in the crowd after having a little breakdown at my other half, being like, I can't do this. These guys, like, we've all been training the same length of time. These guys are now being put on shows. Like, if James asks me, like, I can't do this. Like, I don't feel prepared. I don't feel ready. And I mean, if you speak to most of the guys, they'll tell you they felt the same at the time. But I sat and watched them ref their first matches, or not necessarily their first matches. Some of them, it was like their second show. And I was so, so proud of every single one of them, like to the point I was in tears. But not one part of me was going, oh, I wish that was me. And I'm like, at that point, I knew that refereeing wasn't where I wanted to be. So I thought, I'm enjoying being backstage and sort of behind the scenes that much. I need to figure out what is. So I went to speak to Mike Angus at the next TNT show that they had and sort of find out how he got into it. And he very, very graciously offered to let me shadow him for a couple of shows. And yeah, it spiraled from there. I split a rumble with him, and then he got me in doing the occasional matches. And then I got to work with a promotion further north that was doing a lot of shows with trainees and stuff. So I was able to sort of cut my teeth on that. And then, yeah, I've just been very, very grateful to get some of the opportunities that I've had. I've been able to announce the For the Love of Wrestling Championship. I had the pleasure of announcing the Fighting Spirit Championship the other month. For someone who's so new to announcing still, technically, like, I've been doing it just under 2 years now, but in that time, I've really not done a lot compared. But yeah, I just absolutely love it.
So, what would you say is your favourite and least favourite part about announcing?
My least favourite part of announcing is the stress, because I overthink everything. I over prepare for everything. So my notes are ridiculous. And I'm always paranoid that I'm going to forget something or get something wrong, because I'm not bothered about messing up for me. I'm bothered about messing up for who I'm introducing, because if I get their introductions wrong and that affects either their character, or even if it gets in their head a little bit too much and it affects their match, like if I mess up that badly that they're genuinely mad at me, then is that going to affect how they perform with their opponent? Touch wood, it's never happened, but it's always my worry. And my favourite part is being able to sort of help get those characters over and telling the stories that the guys want to tell. My favourite thing is getting involved with the gimmicks. We mentioned PL Dotson before we actually went live. Will always be, everyone's sick of me talking about PL Dotson, because I absolutely love introducing him. He gives you so much to go with his intro, with all his nicknames and everything, and he's always up to play around, and like we'll play like he's forcing me to say like the last bit of his intro of "you're better" and things like that, and it just instantly gets him hated by people. And I love being able to have that effect on the crowd and help get the talent the reactions that they want. Like they say, what is it, 7 seconds you get for a first impression? To me, as a ring announcer, I get 2 minutes head start on your 7 seconds. So if you're a brand new wrestler coming through the curtain, if you can give me enough that I can tell the crowd that you're a good guy or a bad guy or whatever with how I introduce you, then your 7 seconds first impression is way easier, because I've already done half the job for you. And if I can do that, that's my favourite thing, of being able to sort of put that together.
Absolutely. So obviously, being a ring announcer, you've got to obviously look after your vocal health. Do you do any sort of warm-up routine before a show or anything like that?
No. One of my mentors, Simon Hill, will be absolutely disgusted in me, because he's fantastic. He's got his hot teas, he's got his water, he's got his lemon. He does it obviously professionally. He announces football and radio and all sorts. So he is very, very conscious of it. And he's obviously, when he was coaching me, he's like, you need to make sure you're doing this and that. And I'm like, I do absolutely nothing. I mean, anyone that's heard me in a crowd knows I can go for 3 hours straight just screaming and shouting and it not bother me. So to be perfectly honest, a couple of introductions on a show isn't a lot of strain on my voice. If I was doing it as often as Simon is, obviously it would be a bit different, because it would be day in, day out type stuff. But yeah, I'm really bad with my prep work for vocal wise anyway.
Okay, so obviously, there's quite a few times with announcing where you have to react spontaneously. So if there's a shock win or something like that, or if there's any technical difficulties, can you describe a moment, like if you have had technical difficulties, whether that's your mic cutting out, lighting cues missed, or anything like that? And have you had to face any of that, and how you managed to deal with that on the fly?
Technical difficulties, not so much. We've had a couple of like mics not working or whatever, but it's just put the mic down and talk. Like, again, we've said it multiple times, my voice is loud enough. I think reacting on the spot, the two biggest ones that I've probably had to deal with was either we had a title change that literally nobody, the promoters played the whole roster. The two people in the match and the promoters were literally the only people who knew that the title was changing. So the referee in the ring didn't know, I didn't know, and it was one of those. I was literally sat with microphone in my hand watching it happen, and I was looking at the ref like, are we doing this? Am I announcing this? Like, are you ringing the bell? What are we doing? And we were just sort of having this like silent conversation of what on earth. But James has always taught us, you count what you see. Like, if a wrestler doesn't kick out or whatever, then you count it. If that's the wrong result, that has to be dealt with later on. So we just kind of rolled with it. And the other one would probably be when I got to announce the For the Love of Wrestling Championship. I literally had about 3 minutes notice. There'd been loads of different people who'd been announcing during the day. The person who was supposed to announce the match had disappeared, and the promoter was like, "Oh, where's he gone?" And I just kind of said, like, jokingly, thinking I was going to get laughed at, being like, "If you want me to do it, I'll do it." And I literally got, "Yeah, go on then." And I was like, "What now?" I have special, like, not special trainers, specific trainers for ring announcing in, because I don't like putting outside shoes on the mat. didn't have any decent shoes. I was literally in scruffy leggings. I'd been wearing the same t-shirt all. I felt disgusting. And I literally, thankfully, one of the people I was announcing, it was NAJ, but he was replacing Lucy Sky. So we were having a whole like play about that. NAJ came out in Lucy Sky's gear and was announced as NAJ Sky. So luckily, we'd been discussing behind the merch table what that was going to look like when he got announced. So I already knew what he had in his head to be announced. So thankfully, I only had one intro that I didn't have, and that was obviously Sam Bailey. So I literally legged it down the back corridor, and I was like, Sam, I'm announcing you. I don't know what's going on. What does it get announced as the For Love of Wrestling Championship, or do you announce it as the Footlow Championship? What do you want to do? And what are we going for? And I'm literally like scribbling shorthand on my little notepads. Literally walked out to the ref being like, we need to go now. And I'm like, okay, like I'm getting in the ring. And yeah, just went with it. And it was so much fun. It was stressful, but it's so much fun. I love doing stuff like that just off the bat. I'd much rather do that than sit and plan out an entire show, because I overthink and I stress about that. Whereas something like that, where it's literally just a case of, okay, go, I'm like, sweet. That's why I like podcasting, because it's way off the bat and I can just waffle like I am doing now.
Absolutely. So, going to give you a couple of questions on the mental health side of things now. So, how do you manage the pressure of being obviously the voice and sometimes the face of a show, often in front of however many fans there are, and if it's recorded for YouTube or what have you? And what impact does that constant visibility have on your mental health?
It being recorded for YouTube or anything like that, I ignore. I've never ever once got in the ring and thought about video content of it, because that would just petrify me. Being constantly in sort of view, I don't tend to mind it on a show. Like I mentioned before, I did feel the need when I started announcing to have like a professional and a private Instagram, because there were fans that were sort of crossing boundaries, and I wanted to be able to sort of put that hard boundary there of having the two different social medias. And I don't know, I don't tend to deal with it very well. When you ask how I deal with it, I don't. I get in the ring to announce the first match and my legs are shaking, my hands are shaking. I'm awful for the first intro, and then something in me just goes, all right, we've done that now and we're fine. So yeah, I haven't figured out how to deal with those nerves. They're there and then they disappear. And I really need to find a way to deal with those nerves, because the legs shaking in a ring, especially when you've got NAJ bouncing like flipping Tigger around a ring while you're nervous, it's just not fun. When your legs aren't stable and he's making the whole ring do this, no, it's not the one.
Definitely. So, obviously, carrying on from that, when you've got someone like AJ who's bouncing around like Tigger, and you are quite obviously really under pressure, you're facing a lot of anxiety, what strategies do you use to obviously maintain professionalism when you're in that ring, when you're trying to, obviously, because when you start getting nervous and you're shaking, it can sometimes make your voice sound a bit resonating, sort of thing. So, like, what sort of strategies do you use to get through those announcing?
I don't tend to find it affects my voice too much. I think because when I'm announcing, I do try and put sort of different cadence in my voice and different sort of enunciation on words, and because I'm purposely thinking about how I'm saying something, like putting a deeper tone onto the heels and things like that. It doesn't, the emotion doesn't tend to get through the concentration. But a lot of the time, aside from vocally, I tend to match whatever's in the ring with me. Like I say, I like playing off the characters that are in the ring with me. I've had people like Ace, Ace up at LWF, he's got in my face and screamed in my face that he's going to headbutt me because I introduced him wrong. And it's like, you just kind of play off it and like call the ref over. He was very apologetic when I got backstage. He was like, I shouldn't have done that without talking to you first. Like, he obviously wasn't mad at me. He was just using it as a tool. Or like, if you've got someone like AJ who's bouncing around the ring, then you sort of rise to that level. There's been times where I've been in the ring with people who have got really dancey intros, and I've been there. I'll dance along to the intros and stuff. It's times I've tried to get Steve to do it with me and he just glares at me. It's not about that. But yeah, I think I do tend to just very much match the energy that's in the ring with me. And again, luckily, I've had the pleasure of announcing a lot of people that I know, so do tend to relax me, and they can see if I'm feeling on edge. A lot of the time, either the refs or the talent themselves are sort of a bit like, they'll say something to me jokingly and it just sort of like puts you at ease.
Absolutely. So you mentioned earlier about having two separate accounts, obviously a professional and a personal one. When you're dealing with a live crowd's energy, whether it's positive or negative, obviously that is part of the job. How do you mentally process and shake off any particular harsh criticism from fans, possibly online?
To be honest, I've not really had any. I don't feel like anyone cares enough about what I do in the ring to bother going online to give me shit about it. Yeah, it's not something I've had sort of feedback from wrestlers who have said, I didn't like how you said that, or I wouldn't have done that if I were you. Which, again, I am quite bad at. It does play on my mind a little bit. But I try to take it as constructive criticism, and I try to remember going forward and try something different. And the separate social medias was mainly just to keep a barrier of a line between professional and personal. But very gratefully, I've not had much social media hate for stuff I've done. Okay,
so going on to the last question before we go on to the next section, and we'll bring Jamie back. When you're having a particularly bad day and you are announcing, do you find yourself going backstage and talking to any of the wrestlers and any of the referees or the staff or anything like that? And does that help at all with your with any anxiety that you're having at all?
Massively, yeah. Like I say, I keep going back to the refs, but obviously coming through Greenwood's training, I'm very close with a lot of the newer refs. There's also the team of refs, especially that we've got around the north. The experienced ones, when you're looking at the likes of Steve Dean, Scott Bell, James Greenwood, Lee. Lee's last name's gone out of my head, but Lee and Sandy from up at True Grit. They're such great people, and they're always consistent, because obviously wrestlers you tend to see there's a lot more change around, whereas the referees, there's a much smaller pool of them, so they are quite a consistent that you will find, which is not, again, they're always reassuring. But yeah, gratefully, I've always been working shows with people that there's at least someone that I have a bond with. But yeah, just going backstage, having a laugh with someone, distracting yourself from it a little bit. I tend to, if I'm feeling a little bit in my head during the show, I'll try to focus in on the match and actually enjoy some wrestling rather than overthinking what's coming next and who I'm introducing. And I kind of take breaks in the people that I sort of know their intro. There's a few people whose intros I've done that many times, they're just ingrained, like PL Dotson. It may have 4 nicknames in it, but I've done it that many times. it doesn't feel like I'm working when I'm introducing him, because it's muscle memory and I can have fun with it, and it's almost like a reset of, this is why I do it, because I enjoy it. So if I've had someone before that has really stressed me out because they've got weights and things like that in introductions, that my memory can't deal with it, so that stresses me out. But yeah, having something like a PL Dotson intro or an FTM introduction. FTM introductions are incredible because the boys will always play off you as well. But things like that give me a reset during the show, because I know that no matter what I do, they're not going to give me shit for it. And I can just go in there, I can enjoy it. I know what's about to come out my mouth because I've said it a million times. And yeah, my little Lala's nodding away at me.
Absolutely. So I'm going to move on to the final section. Jamie, if you'd like to come back, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Jamie.
Unmute yourself, you sausage.
So
Trying.
Mummy, come back
which
in.
is obviously you guys being merch sellers. So because you've been talking so long, I'll ask Jamie the question first. How did you get into the business of selling merchandise for wrestlers, and what's your relationship like with the talent that you represent?
No, it's my phone.
I think we just got thrown into it, really. It was one of those things where at a lot of the shows we were at, the talent had the merch out and it was basically just being left unmanned. And yeah, it didn't sit right with us, because we were like, not everybody's a bad seed, but there might be one or two. And if something gets taken, that's money lost for the talent. So yeah, it was just one of them things where me and Lauren I started doing other things. So I was actually selling other things. I wasn't selling merch as such. I was selling like figures and things for a different company. And then it was talent was saying, oh, would you mind just keeping an eye on my stuff? Yeah, not a problem. Then when obviously I stopped doing that, it was, well, now you're not doing that. And I know you can keep an eye on my stuff. Would you mind doing it properly? So it was one of those things where we just, Alana, please stop, where we just went and started just helping the talent with their merch. And then it was the promoters of like, oh, well, can you sell our stuff? And then it was just right, yeah, you're just taking over merch now. Like, so me and Lauren have just become known as the people who just do the merch, because we've just kind of taken over everywhere, haven't we? Oh, there you go, Auntie Lauren. Lana wants you to look at a cat.
Oh, thank you. Pumpkin.
We're live, mate,
It's a pumpkin cat.
Very cute.
Absolutely. Lauren, same question for you, love.
Very, very similar. Like I say, I started working with
I
Jamie.
have a question.
And yeah, you just get the talent sort of a lot of the times, especially when we're in like the nightclub venues and stuff and everyone's drinking and you get drinks put down on the merch and things were getting ruined, and it just like everything we've done has been to sort of obviously try and help the talent make their money and be successful in what they're doing. And when you're seeing happen that's so easily fixable by just having someone there, it just made sense for us to do it. So, and like I'm a very organized person in general, like, and when the talent could see the way their stuff was being put out and neatly folded, and I've always got little labels for the prices and stuff to make it easy for everyone to sell stuff. Kind of snowball.
Doing it.
Absolutely. So, same with Jamie being the mum of the medical side, you would basically be like the mum of the merchandise side. Would you say that?
Pretty much, yeah. Jamie feeds everyone, which is why she's known as the mum. I'm just the bossy one that everyone's scared of. There's some merch tables like people won't even come behind because they know I've got everything laid out properly, and like everyone's bags are behind where their stuff is on the table, and the talent love it because they come down and they're like, oh, my stuff's there. It makes sense. But then like some of the ring crew come and get something, and they'll see me behind the merch and they're like, can I just have that? Because they don't want to come and mess anything up. Not that I would shout at any of them, but
No, that's my job. I shout at them.
yeah, hence mum. But yeah, I do tend to just on my baby is the table. Love being able to have a nice display. Like when we had the weekender at TNT, I was really chuffed with how our merch tables looked, and it showed, because pretty much everybody walked out of there having made money, other than Big Gay Brunch, because there was tons of them. Yeah, everyone kind of sold a bit of merch, so it shows that it does work.
Absolutely. So for you ladies, what's the biggest logistical and financial struggle in managing merchandise for independent wrestlers at all? Lauren?
Obviously, because most promotions don't have a budget for a merch manager, like me and Jamie basically get paid in a ticket to the show. So we get into the show, but we're behind the merch the whole time. So yeah, we do get to watch the majority of the wrestling, but that is our payment for doing it, basically. When we're on merch, it's so obviously with that we're paying fuel to get to the shows, obviously food and stuff while we're there. That's probably the biggest sort of financial. Logistical, really, there's too many shows. Like I honestly look back to 2 years ago, before all the new refs started coming through, and I honestly don't know how James Greenwood survived in the Northwest, because he needed like 7 of himself. Like even now, when we've brought through 4 or 5 new refs, there's still shows that are struggling to get refs, and you think for merch around here, there's literally me and Jamie who are specifically like known as responsible merch sellers. So there's so many shows that we don't get to or we can't do. Like we mentioned before, the Kingdom crossover. We can't make that show because we're elsewhere. And I would love to be there representing Hot Time, helping out. Obviously, I do Kingdom's merch as well. So I sort of manufacture all their merch. So it's difficult trying to juggle the diary, and both me and Jamie have fibromyalgia as well as other health issues. We've sort of got that extra challenge on top of trying to balance our energy levels in our body, as on top of the logistics of literally being needed in Leeds one day and then Liverpool the next day. I mean, this weekend we're in Salford, then we're in Liverpool, and then I think we're back in Liverpool again the day after for a different promotion. So it's just constant. We don't stop.
Anything to add at all, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, like Lauren said, obviously there is no budget for a merch manager. We do it because we want the talent to make their money. Like if we weren't there, 9 times out of 10 talent wouldn't put merch out, because it has been known for me and Lauren to shout at talent for not giving us the merch that they have brought to the show, because they were either thinking, oh, I'm not going to sell anything, or oh, there's no point,
or they've got that much on planning matches and stuff, they just don't have time.
Yeah, so we don't get paid a lot of the time for doing that, but we pride ourselves on the fact that a wrestler's then gone home with more money than they intended to because we've sold something for them. We've done it where, I mean, I'm one of those people, if I can sell something for talent, I will. Like, I've had talent give me a ring-worn shirt and say, oh, can you just keep hold of that for me? And I've gone, no, we're getting it on the merch table, we'll sell it. and I've sold it for them, and they've come out with even more money. And, it's just something silly and fun. Like Lauren said, I feed the talent. Like, I literally will come to shows with a big bag for life full of snacks. Like, that's coming out of my own pocket because I know what talent are like, that they don't have time to eat, or, you know, they forget to, you know, grab something, and I will happily just bring bags full of food because I'm like, right, at least it's something. You are getting something in you either before or after your match. I don't care which, you know, just have something to eat, or I'm feeding, you know, me, Lauren, you know, the promoter, whoever, because we don't really get time to stop. It's just a thing of, right, grab this and go kind of thing. And yeah, the fact that we don't stop at all, like, it is coming up to Lauren's wedding. And how many shows have we got before your wedding, Lauren?
We've got triple this weekend, then one the weekend after, and then we go into 2 shows, my wedding and another show.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we just don't stop.
6 shows.
Yeah, this is on top of on top of me being a mum of 2, and, you know, like Lauren said, having fibro, and yeah, it's just lots of fun. Lots of fun and lots of mileage.
Absolutely. So, coming down to the last couple of questions for the show today. These ones are going to be mainly mental health based. Obviously, as you mentioned, you're doing this for the wrestlers. Have you ever noticed that if a particular wrestler has sold quite well compared to a wrestler that hasn't sold very well or hasn't sold at all, do they show a difference in stature? They may be more upbeat if they've sold more. They may be a bit down if they've sold less or none at all. And do you find yourself comforting them at all in that situation? Jamie, send it to you first.
I mean, if a talent has sold quite well, especially if they weren't expecting to, you do see the buzz inside of it because they're just like, oh, great, you know, I've got this. I mean, Lauren's probably going to talk about it, but Aitenstein, like, Lauren does his merch for their merch for them, and honestly, like, the look on their face when Lauren says, you know, you've done this, you know, you sold this amount, and that's what we do it for, because that look, it's just like we have, because even though we haven't put our hands in our pockets, we've made a difference there, and it's really nice to see. I mean, we have had it where talent haven't sold anything, and yeah, there's that dejected look, but sometimes they go in with the expectation of, I'm not going to sell anything, so it doesn't hit as hard. I mean, I personally hate it when talent say, have I sold anything, and we have to say no. I hate it, but we know that they're not bringing that down on us, kind of thing. We know that they know it's not through lack of trying, because me and Lauren are known to be like, oh no, look, there's their merch, you know, get some of that, you know, that's good merch. We will big it up in any way, shape, or form that we can, and it's not as lying either. A lot of the time we do believe that, so it's not like we're just saying it to try and make sales. We're saying it because, you know, they've worked hard on that, or, you know, whoever's designed it has worked hard on it. A lot of time it might have been Lauren, but, you know, it's something that we know that a lot of effort has gone into it, and we know it's something good. Stop touching the laptop. So, you know, we do try and make sales for them no matter what, and it's dejecting to us when they don't sell anything, because it's like, oh, am I a bad salesperson? And I'm just like, well, no, I know I'm not. Like, I know I'm good at what I do. It's just either the show itself hasn't sold well overall in merch, or, you know, it's just there's a bigger name that's there that they want more of, or whatever. There's loads of different reasons it can be. So we do try and say to people, you know, don't be dejected if you haven't sold well this show. You know, you might sell better at the next show, or, you know, online you could sell better. There's loads of reasons why, you know, there might be different levels of sales. So, you know, we do try and keep a positive spin on it and keep that person upbeat, because we don't want anybody to go home unhappy.
Definitely. Lauren? Anything to add?
No, she's pretty much nailed it there. I think most of the guys come in expecting to sell nothing. You get some of them, especially if they've brought out a brand new t-shirt that show or whatever, they have a little bit of hope. But 9 times out of 10, when it's a brand new design or whatever, it does tend to sell. Get that sort of proper show. Usually it is the other side. It's sort of being able to say to someone, like, here's £100, you've sold 5 t-shirts, or like Jamie, after we'd done his last batch of merch for Thrill Kill, it was a case of, well, you've paid your invoice off and there's still cash. And they're like, what? You mean I've actually got money to take away? Like, yeah, just go. Prince Pele always makes a joke out of it when he's behind the merch table. He's like, come buy my t-shirts, I've got a mortgage to pay. But for some of them, that is the truth. For some of them, they get their money from merch and it's like, yes, I can get a Mackey's on the way home. And then for other of them, it's, okay, I can actually make my mortgage payment this month. Like, yeah, Pele's joking and making light out of it. He has his full-time shooting job. He's not, obviously not financially irresponsible. But it's a big thing for some of them trying to sort of get on in life as well as fulfill their dream. It's a tough battle for them all. So it is very nice to be able to say to them when they come over, and some of them are like, oh, guessing I've not sold anything. And you go, actually, they're £40. And they're like, what? Thankfully, we don't have to deal with the downside very often because most of them do come in expecting very little.
Okay, fantastic. So on the other end of the spectrum, as we know, wrestling fan bases can be quite intense and quite hostile. Have you ever had to deal with a difficult or hostile fan at all? And do you find yourself protecting your own mental well-being in these situations, Lauren?
No, I don't think I've had to deal with a hostile fan. We've had issues sort of around the events where people have been removed from the events or things like that. Or I guess the one I had this wasn't when I was behind merch. This was when I had a member of the crowd come up and was ranting me for around 20 during the show. One of the heat said they'd taken it offensively, and it spiraled to a whole issue of
Saki.
Taken out of the building, sort of out the back entrance, because there was that much sort of animosity in the room. But I'm very much aware that while I've tried to separate sort of my personal life and my professional with the Instagrams and stuff, I do also put a bit of a separation in of, if people don't like something I've said when I've been selling a story through wrestling, I don't take it personally because it's not me that's done it. It's Lauren Summers who's trying to help PL Dotson come across as the biggest idiot in the world. Sorry, PL, I do love you, really. I keep using you as an example.
He's used to us. It's fine.
Yeah. It is one of those things of keeping it separate, sort of in my mind as well. But when it comes to, I've done customer service for most of my life, so I'm very used to the nodding and the smiling and knowing what to say to try and calm the situation down. And that tends to be all I do. Is just I treat it like it's a customer kicking off at me at Tesco, because that it is essentially it's the same thing. A customer is paid for a product that has either disappointed or upset them for whatever reason, and they want someone to do something about it. And the best thing you can do is to make them feel heard and make them feel seen. And yeah, it's I've never had anything that sort of affected me that I've felt like I've had to go away and deal with it. It's just a sort of in the moment of, okay, customer service voice is on and we're in this situation now, so we're not.
What do you want to play then?
Absolutely. Jamie, anything to add to that?
See, that's where me and Lauren differ. Because Lauren is I have my customer service head on. I have I will bite you if you continue to speak to me in the way you are. Yeah, this is why we work so well together, because she's the calm, cool, and collected one, and I'm the one that I will kneecap you if need be. And I have said this to plenty of people, wrestlers included. You know, these people are bigger than me, far stronger than I am, but I have threatened a few of them if they have stepped out of line. But luckily, we haven't had very many of those. We've had a couple that, especially when it's like in the nightclub, when you've got the drunk people. I have had several drunk idiots. Yeah. More when I'm leaving, though, rather than, during the event. It's more of a trying to get away from Fusion nightclub in your car when there's drunk people walking down that road. So 9 times out of 10, it's not even the clientele that we've had to deal with. It's just the other drunk people in the area. And yeah, so Lauren is the sane one. I'm the feisty little pit bull. So
Fantastic. So as we start to wind down, ladies, we'd like to finish on questions that are a bit more lighthearted. Obviously, that it can get quite deep, these conversations. So what are your individual aspirations and goals for future, both within wrestling and outside of wrestling? Lauren, you want to start us off?
I thought you said light-hearted. That's a difficult one. I don't know. Obviously, I very recently just started making merch for wrestlers and for promotions. So I think that kind of falls in between of the in wrestling and out of wrestling. But yeah, hopefully grow that a little bit so that I can sort of start to make some income myself while still supporting everybody else. Within wrestling, just keep the reputation that I feel like I've built, and hopefully allow other people to sort of see why certain people trust me the way they do. And yeah, otherwise, outside of wrestling, I guess, considering I get married in 2.5 weeks, let's go with long happy marriage.
Definitely a big round of applause for Lauren getting married. Jamie, same question to you.
Within the wrestling, obviously, I want to continue what I'm doing. Like, I love doing the merch sales. I love doing the first aid side of it. I do want to step into the commentary booth, though. That is one thing I do want to do. I did dabble in it years ago, but not to an extent that I was good at it. I can talk about wrestling all day, so I think doing something like that I would love to do. It's just getting the confidence to actually try and do it. But yeah, definitely sticking with that. I want to stay in the wrestling business for as long as I possibly can. And outside of wrestling, it's, carry on warping my poor children into loving wrestling, because they do. Surprisingly, my daughter has a wall of wrestling in a room. She wants to come to all the shows, and my son now, bless him, he's only 3, but he's wanting to wrestle everyone that he sees. He's wanting to get in the ring and do everything. So yeah, I want to keep being the cool mum that takes the kids to wrestling and annoying all the wrestlers with, take a picture with my kid, or, get in the ring with them and throw them about a bit like a few of them have done. So keep doing that. And keep shouting at Lauren for having a wedding on a day I'm taking my kids on holiday and I can't go. Very, very sad about this. Especially when I forgot about it and RSVP'd, yes, I'm going to your wedding.
Oh dear. Okay, so coming out to the final question, ladies. Now, this is the question that when I first posted to gave to Steve Dean, the referee, he had a full blown meltdown when I asked him this. So I'm hoping for for some similar reactions from you two ladies. Final question is: who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling? Jamie, give it to you first.
How many are you allowed on a Mount Rushmore?
4.
4.
Okay. The Undertaker, clearly. Hang on, does it have to be normal wrestling or Brit Rest? Which way are we doing it? Because I might have to 2.
Can be. You can do one for WWE and one for Brit Rest if you want to do that.
Okay, so one for the American style, then. So obviously Undertaker, Jeff Hardy. You know, putting alcohol and drug abuse to one side. AJ Styles and Shawn Michaels. For Brit Rest, Joe Connors. This is where it's going to be harder. Lana Austin. Isaac North. See, I've got like about 6 names now rotating. And I'm just like, got to pluck one of them. Oh. Joe Kessler. I am giving no explanation to any of my answers. That is it. I will fight anyone that wants to argue with me.
Lauren, let's have yours.
Okay, so WWE is a bit harder for me, but
you don't have to do WWE if you don't want to. You can just do Brit Wrestle if you want to do that.
Well, no, I think there's like, for me, if I obviously look at my generation of WWE, you've got Seth Rollins has to be on there. Like, the effect he's had on a lot of stuff is ridiculous. Charlotte Flair. I Jamie's shaking her head at me.
Nepotism, mate. Sorry. I broke Jim.
From NXT to now being fantastic. I'm trying to think. Stone Cold. I have to go back to I absolutely love Stone Cold and the way he created a gimmick out of nothing. And I've not got my other half will not marry me if I don't say Jeff Hardy. So let's put Jeff on there. And then Brit Rest. Oh gosh. Let's think. Oh my god. Trent Seven. I can't not say Drew Parker. I also have to agree with Jamie on the Lana Austin. And I'm going to go Liam Carr.
Ooh.
Can we have an asterisk on our Mount Rushmore? Because obviously you've got your in-ring talent, but then the outside of the ring. Can I put on my Brit Rest one, James Greenwood? Because that man does fucking everything. I'm sorry for swearing, but he deserves all the recognition in the world because I don't know how he does what he does. Because he's in-ring, he's producing, he's trying his hand at everything, and that man is killing it. So he's my little asterisk on there.
Definitely. A big shout out to James agreeing with that. Jamie, I want to get your partners at Mount Rushmore Wrestling, if you can give me one.
Your Mount Rushmore of wrestling. His is all death match. I will just.
No.
No.
So WWE, we're going Taker, Stone Cold, Raven, Sandman.
Okay.
Because obviously.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of it's not British, but it'll be Masada, Necro Butcher, Big Joe, and Jun Kasai.
That's the quickest Mount Rushmore I've ever had. That I think I've just got whiplash.
Oh yeah, he's planned this in his head. He didn't plan our wedding, but he planned that.
Well, I mean, I've got every Taker figure from like the 90s and early 2000s. I am currently hunting every Sandman and Raven figure in Stone Cold.
Lauren.
That's all the way.
I need to take Trent Seven off my Mount Rushmore.
Oh.
Driller Dan
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Driller. Yeah.
Oh. I didn't hear that.
Dan Maloney has to be on my Mount Rushmore. For me,
I really
personally,
hope,
yeah, has to be.
I really hope that Trent Seven doesn't see this podcast. He probably never will.
Oh no!
but,
Oh no!
you know.
We'll just tell him. We'll just tell him when we see him.
We are going to see him in 2 weekends' time. She's absolutely going to tell him that I took him off my Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, I am. I am horrible. I dob people in all the time. It's fun.
We need to clip this part of the podcast and show him that bit.
Just completely out of context.
Just taking him off your
Trent, look at this. There you go. Oh dear. Anyway, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to the both of you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it, guys. Make sure you go check out Talk the Line podcast, just there in the corner. Make sure you check out Lauren. Make sure you check out Jamie on their Instagrams as well, ladies. I finish this off every single the same way every time. This is probably what will annoy Jamie. Is there anything that you ladies would like to plug? Is there anything you'd like to say to the people watching or anything like that? Lauren, we'll start with you.
If anyone actually is still watching, we are grateful for the people that support us in everything we try to do to support the talent. We are very, very lucky that we have a close circle of people who are always sort of there bigging us up and helping us and supporting us. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone that does that. And yeah, if you like what you see, come and watch our Talk the Line. If anything we've spoken about sounds vaguely interesting, come and find us at a show, because whether we're making signs, selling merch, running the door, ring announcing, we're probably at the show in the Northwest. But yeah, just thank you so much to everyone who's actually sat and watched this. And considering we are on a mental health conversation podcast, if absolutely anybody that has ever spoken to me ever is ever struggling with mental health, depression, even sort of thoughts of unaliving, never, ever, ever suffer on your own. Send someone a message, whether it's me, whether it's your mum, somebody will listen. There is always somebody out there. And if I have to be the person that listens, and like Jamie said, if I have to come and drive to you at 3 a.m. in the morning, I will. And if anything we can do can help just one person, then it's worth being open about our own struggles, because yeah, even if it's just one person, that it helps.
Fantastic. Jamie, anything to add, love?
Yeah, go to a Brit Rest show. Like, you will have so much fun. We are a select group of weirdos who get along because we enjoy men oiled up in tights, throwing each other about and being insane. And yeah, it's genuinely, when you try and explain this weird and wonderful world of wrestling to anybody that doesn't understand it, you get funny looks. And yeah, it's be that weirdo, be the outcast, be the outsider, be the person that you want to be, because we're all amazing, we're all unique, and just be unapologetically you, like me and Lauren are, because yeah, not everybody's gonna like you, but so what? I don't like myself half the time, but I now have a random naked child. He's not naked, but he's got pants on. Oh, and he's dropped my microphone. But yeah, go to a wrestling show, meet people like us who will absolutely either love or hate you, but we'll still talk to you no matter what. And yeah, if you're struggling, talk to somebody. Please talk to somebody. somebody. Like, don't
I'm not
suffer.
pressing it.
No, don't press it, mate. Don't suffer in silence. Don't think that you're on your own because you're not.
And
Like-
then
Show up at the door
So
before,
sorry about my
show up at the door
child.
before cans will do 2 weeks like Stone Cold outside.
Yeah. Yeah. If any of anybody who's watching is, you know, struggling, I'm always there. Like, if you know me, you know my Instagram, you know my phone number, you know whatever, message me. Like, I will talk to you. I get up at daft o'clock in the morning because I have little people. I go to bed stupidly late at night because I have insomnia. Like, I'm there. I will talk to you. I will bring you down off that edge if I need to. I will drive to stop you doing something stupid. I will always be there for anybody because
Have a fumbler.
I know what it's like to have nobody there for you, and I don't want anybody to ever feel like that ever. So if you're listening, remember that you are loved, you are special, and you are absolutely awesome.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So again, guys, thank you so much to Lauren. Thank you so much to Jamie. Thank you so much to people commenting, including Steve Dean, Louise, and Janine De Silva. Thank you so much, guys, for commenting. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode, which is tomorrow at 2:30. You have to see who it is when it comes to it. But yeah, can't thank these ladies enough. It's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you guys. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.